Dan, and I am broadcasting live from the School for Poetic Computation on Tuesday, March 22nd. It's not really the morning anymore. It's about 11:20 a.m. I'm here. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see me. I've got some new lights set up, so I think the picture quality should be a bit better. The keying from the green screen should be a bit better. Please let me know in the chat how it looks, how it sounds. I'm still kind of in a phase of kind of testing this setup and getting it configured, so I not really prepared, which is why I'm kind of stream of conscious rambling here. But I do have some stuff I want to do today, in addition to just kind of talk and answer any questions. But on my list is, I've been meaning for a long time, I made a whole set of video tutorials about making a Twitter bot using Node.js. So I finally want to look at some strategies for deploying that bot to a server. We can look at how you can deploy to Heroku or an Amazon EC2 instance, or discuss other possibilities. Oh, Cloud9 is another one you can use, I think, for free. I should maybe look at that. As well as actually just running your bot on a Raspberry Pi. So I want to, I'm going to pull out a Raspberry Pi and see if I can even hook it up into the system and have it behind me and see what we can kind of like futz with it, fuddle with it. I don't know what you do with a Raspberry Pi. You program it, you make it do stuff. So I don't know, I'm gonna hang out here for an hour or two and kind of do this stuff. If I have a good like chunk of something, I'm gonna record that separately as a video tutorial that will get, all of this will get saved, but I'm looking to make, in the next hour or two while I'm futzing around, also make some video tutorials. So I'm looking in the chat. Do I look, I don't know if I noticed the way I had the white balance on the camera, I was very like pale the other day. Now I look a little bit orange. But if you wouldn't mind letting me know how the picture quality is and how the sound is, that would be helpful to me before I get kind of started here. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, I got some folders on the desktop here. All right. Does that make a weird noise, like a slurping noise? Okay, so picture and sound are good. It seems perfect. Great. Okay, thanks for the feedback. So I'm going to get started then. Let's see what we can do first here. Let me revisit and try to get, so here's the thing. I'm kind of doing my strategy for today is, rather than like prepare and then turn on the stream and be prepared, I'm just going to prepare while I'm streaming. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is kind of get myself back to some of those bot examples. So I'm going to open up Sublime, and I'm going to go here to the Finder and see if I can figure out where are all those oh, documents, yeah. Data APIs, arrays, other R of code, video notes. Where are all the bot examples? Other documents. This is not going well so far. Hold on, let's try this. Bot.js. Okay, they're definitely somewhere. Let me see these things in the Finder. Old desktop, old YouTube code, old. This is brilliant. Brilliant file naming here. Documents, old desktop, old YouTube code. But that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to grab those things. Old desktop, old YouTube code. So let's grab, I'm going to move this stuff to the desktop here and drag this into here. So this was a bunch of my old bot examples. Unregistered Sublime text. I have purchased Sublime text, but I guess because I made a different user account on this machine. See, somebody wrote in the comment, image could be sharper. I'm assuming that's just the sort of compression of the internet speed. It is. I am streaming this out in 720p. I was reluctant to try to do it higher, but anybody else let me know if it seems like you have trouble seeing anything. Okay. Let's see here. Let's just find a very simple example, which just, let's look for the, like, this one, I think, maybe. This one does a random number what's 20 times 1,000? Every 20 seconds? And somebody asks, why not use Atom.io text editor? No reason. I just happen to have using Sublime here. That would also be a good one for me to use. So I think this will work here as a demonstration to start with. Let me open up Terminal now. Well, where am I here in Terminal here? Oh my goodness. And I'm in this one. I have no idea, and I think the good question, another question here is, what is this example hooked up to? Twitter, am I logged in to, no, I'm logged in to who? Myself. Let's log out of that. Now you all saw my Twitter page. Let's log into ITP-A2Z. I'm trying to remember the password, which is my test Twitter account. No. Oh, wait. First of all, let's even see if that's the right account name. ITP-A2Z. No. A2Z ITP? Yes. Okay. Log in. What did I say it was? A2Z ITP. Interact. Oops. I just said the password out loud. I don't know. Should I save it? What do you guys think? Oh, I feel so stressed out when I get these queries. Let's not save it. Let's not save it. Bad idea. Bad idea. Okay. So now let's run this bot. Bot is starting. It worked. Yeah, there we go. This is a tweet we just made 3 seconds ago. Random number 39, the number of the day. Isn't that's a Sesame Street thing, right? The number of today is 39. Okay, and we've got our random number bot. And so I think I have all the pieces here now. I have a browser page open to the Twitter bot. I have Sublime Text open to the code for the Twitter bot. There it is. And I have also Terminal now in the directory for that Twitter bot, so I can run things. And I don't need the activity monitor, and et cetera. I don't need this. Oh, I am going to need this. Ah, yeah, when we get to the Amazon thing. Okay. Do I have CyberDuck here somewhere? Yep. Okay. We're going to use that for FTPing files. I logged into some sort of Git, something like that. Okay. So let's see here. Let me look. There are 28 people watching. Hello. So a lot of people seem to have just joined. I'm just getting set up here. The things that I wanted to talk about today are how to deploy your Twitter bot, and as well as look at a Raspberry Pi. Should we try? Should I try that? Let me get my Raspberry. I got to leave for a second. Not really leave. Not really good. I'm in a place. I'm in this like kind of underground bunker. It's not underground at all, but it's like a room with no windows. But there's a room with windows right over there. I can go get a little sunshine. But over in that room over there, I left a Raspberry Pi. So I need to just walk over there and get it. Be right back. There's lots of things here I could trip over, so I have to do this very carefully. Be right back. Oh, you can still hear me, though, because I got a live mic going on here. So I'm in the other room. You can't see me now. And I can't find the Raspberry Pi. Oh, you know why? Because I already brought it in here. Because I'm a lunatic. Oh, and you know what? A light went out. One of my lights went out probably because I stepped on the cable. Whoop, now it's on. It just shined in my eyes. Okay. So let's talk about the Raspberry Pi for a second. So here's the thing. If you've made a Twitter bot, and if you've made it using Node or whatever you made it with, you now have the ability, as we just saw, to on your own computer run that Twitter. Oh, the font should be bigger here, so you can see that. To run it. There we go, right? You have the ability to run it, and you could just let that Twitter bot run. But if this is your laptop, eventually you want to close it, you want to shut it down, you need some place where it can run permanently. And your options could be like, okay, well, you could dedicate a computer sitting in your home or office or wherever you have your computer to running your bot, but that might be a little bit unreasonable. It's kind of an expensive thing to dedicate an entire computer just for a bot. So one of the nice things you can do, I have a box here. I have props. I have in here a Raspberry Pi. I show it to the camera. This will be out of focus. A Raspberry Pi. A Raspberry Pi is a small computer. It looks like this. I actually have a little camera hooked up to it, which I will at some point see if I can get working. I happen to have also a little, I need another camera to like close up on this. I happen to have a little, what do you call this? Wi-Fi thing, dongle, USB Wi-Fi thing, so this can connect to the internet. Of course, I could just plug it directly into Ethernet. And this is computer, this is running a Linux operating system. There's a little micro SD card in here, which has the Raspberry Pi, has the Linux operating system on it. It's running that, and that can run Node. So this, being only $35, is a much more reasonable thing to leave dedicated to running your bot. So that is one option, and I would like to, maybe I'm not going to do this right now, set this up. I'm going to try to get the HDMI output of this. Or actually, I don't even need that, because if I'm just going to, I could log into it. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm going to set this up and show you guys some stuff with the Raspberry Pi. But maybe we should move on. Maybe we should move on, and I'm going to look at some options for deploying this bot to servers. So let's think about what some oh, this light does not stay on. Oh, why is that? Hold on, maybe I need a piece of tape here. Why is it loose? Hold on, I'm going to work on this. Light over here. Okay, come on. There we go. There we go. All right. So, oh yeah, I've lost a lot of viewers. I was up to like 30-some viewers. Now there's only 23 of you watching, but that's nice. Okay, so what I want to do is look up here. I have some notes on this, which I will show you where those are. Schiffman.github.io/A2ZF15. So if you, A2Z-F15. Okay, if you go to this URL, I have some notes on how to deploy your bot to both Heroku, which is a company that runs servers that you can get an account on. And actually, you can run your Twitter bot on Heroku for free, as far as I can tell. I've been able to do that. I'm going to show you that. Obviously, if you want to do more sophisticated things, you'll probably need a paid account for Heroku. So we'll look at that briefly. So on this page, I have two links here of notes. One is a page of notes on how to deploy your bot to EC2. And another is a page of notes of how to deploy your bot to Heroku. So I'm going to open this up, and you can see that. And what I'm going to do is you can kind of like see the basic instructions here, but I'm going to walk through them, and then I'm going to hit record. So maybe this first video that I'm going to do will be called "How to Deploy Your Node.js Bot to Heroku." When I woke up this morning, is that really what I thought I was going to do with my day? Was come here and talk to myself in a room with a wall painted green about deploying a Node bot to Heroku. I don't know. Anyway, such is my life. Your life is to watch this. Of course, you have free will and can turn this off and go to the sunshine. I will stay here in my dark room. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple things. One is, hello, Taeyun. I see. Hello, Andrew. Andrew Kim writes in the chat, by the way, Twitter bots are estimated to create approximately 24% of tweets that are on Twitter. Is that really true? Oh, well, we are only adding to the problem if that's the case. So I want to get my notes open on this. I have a second my second laptop over here. Schiffman.github.io /A2Z-F15. And I'm going to go to I'm going to start with Heroku. Oh, the camera just went off. I'm going to walk around here and turn it back on. Sorry about that. I'm also going to check I'm in a bit of a battery situation, which is that I'm running this lav mic and the receiver for the lav mic off AA batteries, and I kind of, those might run out, which I guess I might have to pause and go out and get some batteries, but we'll see. I still got a full bar, so I think it's going to last for a little while. Okay, so what I want to check here is, okay, good. That's not installed. So I need to install this Heroku tool belt. And the one thing I need to make sure I can do is make sure I can log into Heroku here. So I'm going to log in, make sure I know my password. That's so sad. I use one password and I just don't have it. I was lucky. Okay. Let's not save it. I probably should save it. I don't know what's happening anymore. Okay, but boy, look at all of these tests. Test, delete soon. This is my brilliant bot test. Delete soon, test, Twitter bot test. Think I should delete some of these? Can I delete them very quickly? It's probably going to take me a while. We'll just make another test. It's fine. Okay, so I think I'm ready for the first tutorial for today. It only took me 16 minutes to get to that. And the first tutorial I'm going to do is deploying your Twitter bot to Heroku. And I probably should practice this before I hit record, but I could always do it twice and whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to check the chat to make sure everybody can still hear me and everything looks okay. Hello to more of you who are saying hello in the chat. I love this purple color. I got to change my desktop background to like a nice purple or something. Hello to Brother Rain in the chat. I gained a viewer. I was losing people through my rambling, but once I started like holding up a prop and had this like Raspberry Pi and I was trying to, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to do this. So, so I've got, just to revisit this, I've got, oops. I don't need this here, or maybe I do. I've got my Twitter page open for viewing if the bot works. I'm logged into my Heroku dashboard. I have got the code for this particular bot open, and I also have terminal in the directory for the bot. Okay, so I think I'm ready. Here we go. So now I have to come over here and I'm going to hit record. I'm going to have a little sip of this. I'm having coffee today instead of tea, which is very dangerous since I have like a sort of a hyper energy problem anyway. Well, what can you do? Okay, here we go. Hello. In this video, I'm going to look. I got to start over. I have this on the wrong page. Okay, I'm turning this over here. Okay, and then I'm going to make this bigger. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Stop. I'm going to try this again. Hello. In this video, I am going to look at how you can take a Twitter bot written in Node.js and deploy it to a server. And the server I will look at in this video is one that runs on Heroku. So what are the pieces of this? The first thing is I have this simple little bot which just tweets a random number. You can see I just ran this bot and tested it over here. And you can see there's the random number it picked, random number 39. And I also have my browser logged into Heroku. So, shoot, I have to start over. Sorry, I had this in the wrong page. This code and terminal. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start over again. Hello. 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 My name is Dan. Hello. In this video, I am going to look at how to deploy your bot written in Node.js to a server, and that server being one that runs on a service called Heroku. So let's take a look at the pieces. So you can see here I have my browser open to my test account, A2Z ITP, which I most recently just tweeted, a bot tweeted a random number, 39, and I have the code for that bot open right here. You can see it in Sublime. It's very simple. It has a single function that tweets that random number. And then I also have my terminal open to that directory, and I could just really quickly test to make sure that bot works. The bot is starting. It worked. Let's go back to the browser. I'm going to hit refresh, and we can see now I got random number 4. So everything is working. The point is, in this video, is I want to say this bot that's running right over here, I don't want to run it from my laptop. I want it to run autonomously on a server somewhere that I can set it to go and never think about it again. So let's, oh, I tweeted again. Let's quit it and look at how we can do that. So the site that the service that I'm going to use in this particular video is Heroku. So you'll need an account. So if you're watching this video and you don't have a Heroku account, go to Heroku.com. Heroku, spelled this way, .com. And you can see here, I went there. Now I'm already logged in, so it went straight to my dashboard. And you can see that I have all these things already listed on my dashboard because apparently I've tried to make a variety of, I've tried to do this a whole bunch of times. Test this, test that, delete soon, etc. So what are these things? These things are referred to as dynos. I think that's right. Not dynos, D-I-N-O-S, dynos, D-Y-N-O-S, like a dynamic thing that's running. It's a process that you're running. So what I need to do is create a dyno to run my bot. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is go up here to this plus sign up in the top right, and I'm going to say create new app. So app is really what I'm doing. I'm going to create an app. I'm going to call it Coding Rainbow Demo. Should only contain lowercase letters. Okay, Rainbow Demo. It is available. I'm going to create it. And it is now there. So there's a whole bunch of things I need to do here. And one of the things about using Heroku is Heroku is kind of its own animal. It's not really an animal, it's a web server, but whatever. It's its own, it has its own way of doing things. And the way that you send things to Heroku and get things back from Heroku is 2 ways. One is you use Git. What is Git? Oh boy, if you don't know what Git is, stay tuned for my upcoming set of Git and GitHub tutorials. But for now, if you don't know what Git is, you'll still be able to follow this, but you're just going to have to verbatim kind of copy. I heard a noise. There's a person somewhere nearby. I have to keep going anyway. Okay. You can just sort of verbatim copy some of these commands. Okay, so now I'm waving to somebody who, it's my neighbor Joe. I love Joe. He's a great guy. He came and said hi the other day. Okay, I got to keep going here. So you can see here that on the Heroku page, it's even giving you some sort of commands that you can follow. We'll worry about that in a moment. But we're missing one other aspect here. The first thing that it's saying to do is saying Heroku login, meaning log into your Heroku account from terminal somehow. So if I go over here and I type in Heroku login, it says command not found. So one of the things you need in order to work with Heroku is a piece of software called the Heroku tool belt. So I probably should have pre-installed that, but I'm just going to Google Heroku tool belt. I'm going to click on the first thing that comes up, and I'm going to download it. And I think this is going to happen quickly enough that I can just do this. I'm going to install it, continue, install, password. And there we go, I'm installing it. I do my installing dance. I don't know, I didn't. Like the weird thing about me doing this dance while this video is going on is I have a preview screen. I'm like watching myself over here as opposed to just dancing to the camera. That was very weird. I will edit that out. Someone will make a weird GIF out of that or something. Okay, so now I should be able to go back and type in Heroku. Look at that. Oh, installing tool. I didn't even know it was going to do that. So maybe you have to do that. I was about to just say Heroku login, but I just was typing Heroku to make sure it works. Apparently I have to do another dance because it's installing a bunch of stuff. Oh, I don't have to dance. Okay. So now we can see, I should be able to say Heroku login, and it should ask for my credentials. My account is under my email. My password is I'm logged in. So now that I'm logged in, I can actually start to do things which would allow me to deploy from terminal here all the stuff for my bot to Heroku itself. So let's go back now to this page. And actually this page, sorry. And we can see here. Now that I've logged into Heroku, the next thing I need to do is make my bot into a Git repository. Again, what Git is, if you're not familiar with it, is out of the scope of this particular video, but it's version control software. And what it's going to allow me to do is once I turn it into a Git repository, meaning all of the code for my bot is in this folder, it's going to allow me to push that Git repository to Heroku because everything that lives on Heroku is also a Git repository. So I'm going to be able to follow these commands. The first thing I'm going to do is say git init, and it initialized an empty Git repository. Now, if I type got, by the way, instead of git, it's going to say got command not found. If you get this error, meaning git command not found, this just means you need to download and install Git. So if I Google Git, the very first thing that comes up is this particular website, git-scm.com, and I can just somewhere here, right here, I can download for Mac or for Windows or whatever it is so you can download and install Git, and if for some reason you didn't have that already. Okay, now that I've done that, the next command that I need to go to is this, Heroku git remote-a. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, I want my Git repository, this thing that lives on my computer, I want it to be linked to a remote place. That remote place far off in the distance is Heroku. And I not just want to link it to Heroku, but I want to link it to my app that's Coding Rainbow Demo. So I can just take exactly this here, and I can put that into terminal. I see it over here on my preview screen. And there we go. It's all set now. And then I can go here and I can say the next thing. Okay, so the next set of commands here is now I actually want to send the stuff to Heroku. The way that you send stuff to Heroku is with a Git command called push. In Git, push means send, pull means receive. So there's a lot to this, but the first thing I need to do is like add and commit, and so I'm just going to follow these commands. Someday this will link to my Git tutorials, which will explain all these commands. So I'm going to say git add, and then I'm just going to use exactly, I'm going to say git commit-am, make it better. This I could put my own comment in here. I'm going to say, oh, and you can't, this needs to move like a little bit over here. I'm going to say, this is my bot, and it did that, and then I'm going to say git push Heroku master. Git push Heroku master, which will send it. So now it's sending it to Heroku, and it's going to do all sorts of stuff to try to run it. The thing is, I missed some steps. So these would have been the steps if I had a kind of traditional, old-fashioned web application. You know, I made some sort of server, it serves up web pages, people log onto my server, they see the web pages, but that's not actually what I made. I made this bot, which is just this process that needs to run behind the scenes. There's no web server, there's no place, there's no URL for anyone to go to. I just want this thing to run on the server. So I have over here, I just want to make sure I get the syntax right, my notes. Okay, so in order to do this, I'm missing a particular piece. So first thing I want to do, actually, by the way, I really should have practiced this in advance, but this is fine. So here we are. We've got, okay, what have we done so far? We wrote the code for our bot. we pushed it to Heroku, and it even just sort of said verifying deploy done. It didn't give me any error messages. So let's actually go and look now. I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and I should see here, I should be able to find, oh yeah, sorry, whoops. I should be able to find Coding Rainbow Demo. I'm going to click on that, and we're going to see it says sleeping. So it's not really working, it's not really doing anything yet. The reason it's not doing anything yet is because it is listed as a web app. I need to change this to be what's called a worker app, and that's what I was talking about. A web app is something that serves up web pages. A worker is something that just works behind the scenes with its own process, and that's what the bot is. So in order to do that, I need to go back to my code here, and I actually need to create a new file. So this is my folder with all the stuff, and I need to create a new file, and I need that file to be called, I'm going to save it, PROC file, proc file. This is the process file. It's a configuration file that Heroku will look for to know what is it that this thing is supposed to do. So I'm going to save that, and in that file, I'm going to say, this thing is actually a worker, not a web application, and its job is to run node bot.js. So I'm going to save that in there, and then I have got to go back, and this is again, if you're unfamiliar with Git, here's the thing, I made some changes to my project. Now I need those changes to go onto Heroku. Those changes are only locally on my laptop. So to do that, I need to say git add dot. This is adding my changes. And I need to say commit, which is giving a message to those, which is adding the proc file. You can follow along those. This is the same things I did for the first one. And then I can say git push Heroku master. This is sending it to Heroku master. Heroku is our master. And now that's done. It's finished. As I do my little dance, I have to wait for all this to finish. Launching, verifying deploy, etc. Now I should be able to go here and hit refresh. And I see, look at that. It says worker node bot.js. And this, I want to turn off. Oh, I need to hit edit. I want to turn off the web process, confirm, and I want to turn on the worker one, confirm, and now, as far as I know, oh my goodness, boy, we sent a lot of tweets. You can see now it's running now. So it was probably running. It's interesting that it actually worked maybe earlier, but now it should be running every 20 seconds. It should post a new tweet. And we should be able to see this, by the way, if I back here say Heroku log. Oh, what I meant, log is not a command. Perhaps I meant logs. And in fact, yes, I meant logs. Heroku logs. And you can see, by the way, this is running because there's 2 new tweets. And here, it worked. Right, so this is, oh yeah, so you can see, by the way, there's a bunch of things going on here because I let it run as a web thing the first time, and the web thing has an error, it stopped, but you can see the worker thing is just saying it worked, it worked, it worked. So I don't know if 20 seconds has passed, but if I do this again, look at the logs, you can see the worker is still going. So I'm actually going to shut it off because I have it set to like tweet every 20 seconds, which is pretty often, but you can see that this works. So now my bot is deployed on Heroku, and by the way, free account, free Heroku account to do this. So you do not need a paid Heroku account to simply run an app with a worker process. So hopefully this was helpful to you. This is about 15 minutes of the steps. What I'm going to do in the video's description is kind of paste links to all of the pieces you need to download. I'll have links to all the pieces you need to download. I also have this thing that I ran through as a written tutorial, so I will post a link to that as well. But before I go away, I'm just going to show you how I could shut it off if I want to. So I could hit edit here, I could turn this off and hit confirm. So now my bot, even though it did 4 more random numbers, it should have stopped now and it won't do any more random numbers. I've shut it off right now. So that concludes our discussion of how to deploy your Node.js bot to Heroku. Now over here, I'm going to hit stop. Okay, so I'm now going to, I don't know if anyone's still watching the live stream. I'm going to come back here and look at the live dashboard. And some people said hi. Okay, there's 25 of you watching. How was that? Did that make sense? I'm like tempted to just like redo that whole video because I was like didn't know what was happening, but hopefully that was okay. This light keeps going. You know, the key seems to be fine even with this light going out. I don't know whether it's a power issue or it's just loose. Like if I squeeze it, the light goes on. Can you see that there's a light going on and off? Yeah, probably can. Let me hold on. Let me take some more drastic measures here. I have a feeling that this just is not in tightly enough. Okay. Sorry, I just want to fix this light. Hello, everyone. Hello. Sorry. There we go. I will be back talking to you momentarily. There we go. That seems better now. Okay. Seems to be staying on. Okay. Hello again. So let's see. Andrew writes, what kinds of things do you have to pay Heroku to be able to do? To be honest with you, I'm not that much of an expert on Heroku, but I know for a fact that I use it for, so one thing I use Heroku for, if I go to natureofcode.com, because I'm inadvertently plugging this, and I click Buy Now, you'll notice actually the URL takes you to here. So it's actually, I'm running a server on Heroku to run this purchasing system. Which, by the way, you can download it for free. But I have a database that stores a record of every purchase, and I have to have a paid account in order to have that database. So that's one thing, certainly, I think, to use a database. Probably it also is, I would imagine, related to how much bandwidth you get, server space you get, those types of things. Also, how many different apps you can run probably also is related to whether you have a paid or a free account. Okay. That was one question. Another question is, so that is for JavaScript-based bots. So you could deploy non-JavaScript-based bots to Heroku. Whatever runs on Heroku, you can run. The thing that I have not been able to do with Heroku is run a bot that I made these tutorials so long ago, but the bot tutorials, if you go through them, look at doing just a text-based bot and then an image-based bot. And the image-based bot uses then processing, which runs a Java program to do the image stuff. So I have not been able to run Java with the JavaScript node bot on Heroku. But I have been able to do that on Amazon EC2, which is what I also want to show next in this session today. What about Windows users? I guess the console commands are similar, Leander R asks. Correct. For Windows users, you just need your own, everything is the same. You just need to have Cygwin or PowerShell or even Git Bash is a tool you can download to have console command line access to your Windows machine. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. Okay, any other questions? I'm going to start getting ready here to look at Amazon EC2. Okay, Amazon. Okay, so first thing I want to do is go to Shiftman, GitHub. So I also have some notes here. Oh yeah. So I'm going to go through this now. One of the tricky things was, oh my God. This is totally insane. I'm going to leave this open on this machine. So I'm going to go through the EC2 stuff. The tricky thing is getting to log in. I think I'm just going to like hope that I can make this work. Yeah, so let me just see though if, whoops. Why is this URL not correct? Let me fix this. So hold on. I'm going to fix that URL on that tutorial page. Still, post your questions in the chat and I will answer them in a moment while I'm getting here. Where was that? Week 9, EC2, edit. I don't know why this, oh, whoop, I have this backwards. In the brackets should be Amazon EC2. So this should eventually update. Okay. Okay. Oh, interesting. Somebody writes in the chat. I'm sorry. I would love to know how to pronounce your name. Goiche Taskan writes, for web apps, Heroku used to be very generous with their offer. Now, free Dino is limited to run maximum of 18 hours during a 24 hours window. That's interesting. I was not aware of that. So it might be the case that this might not be the best. It'd be interesting to see as you guys try deploying with a free account if it lets you run your bot 24 hours a day. You know, you might be fine if your bot as a worker process only does something like once every hour. But be curious. And then Surthy writes, as a non-web dev, what does Heroku do? Well, Heroku, I'm really the wrong person to be. I should just not be here making these videos because there's certain things I'm also a non-web dev. As a non-web dev, I will now attempt to make up an answer for that question. But I'll give you my sense of it. And, those of you who I'm sure know this better will write in the chat. But Heroku is a server that you get to have an account on. And a server is just a computer that can run programs. Now, for the most part, the kinds of programs you want to run are those that serve web pages. But as I'm showing you here, any program that you can run on your Heroku instance. The thing about Heroku is they have their own way of doing things, which is a little non-standard. It's a little different than I just have a computer that's plugged into the internet that I can log into and put files on. They want you to use their Heroku tool belt software, and you have to send things using Git. So Heroku has a kind of high sort of high threshold. It's not that user friendly for a beginner or someone who doesn't have a lot of experience working with these. But you know, hack away at it, and hopefully that video will help. Is there documentation for the different commands you can make the Twitter bot do? Yes. So what I would suggest in this case is if you go to my YouTube channel and go back to this particular playlist, TwitterBot tutorial, Node.js and processing. I go through all of the TwitterBot stuff in a series of like 5 or 6 videos of how you communicate with the API and how you set up your keys and all of that stuff. So that video that I made about Heroku is going to get tacked on to the end of that playlist as just deploying your bot. Okay. And now I will attempt to do the next demonstration. I'm going to check the battery on my. I still have a full bar there, so I think I'm good battery-wise. And I have 3 bars here, so I think I'm pretty good battery-wise for audio. Incidentally, the one thing I'm doing today is making videos that don't use the whiteboard. Whoops! I don't have the. Because I have a new whiteboard coming by FedEx today. I'm going to try to mount it to the wall over there. I realize now that I probably need, unfortunately, I have 4 LED lights, which is lighting this area really well. I thought I would just use 2 here and 2 there. I might need to get 4 more. But that should be, so as soon as I get the whiteboard up, I'm going to be able to do a lot more tutorials that involve kind of different math-based algorithms, and also the set of Git tutorials I want to do, which even though I kind of want to use the whiteboard to kind of diagram out how Git works. Okay. Okay, so let me get to here, and let me refresh this. That's good, the camera went off. And I am going to come back over here. Chris Coleman writes on Twitter, by the way, we need a diagram and walk of your studio setup sometime. So I did that the other day on Periscope, and maybe I'll do that again today. But I didn't, like, it wasn't my intention to do that. So I will, I definitely will do that. I have a video about it that I made a while ago, but it's a different setup now. So yeah, I will do that. Okay. Here we go. Now, let me just have a little sip of this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, I'm going to close this. We don't need Heroku open anymore. We need this open. So here's the thing. I want to show how, in this video, not just to run a plain vanilla Twitter bot, but a Twitter bot that also posts images. So let me see if, I think that's this one. So this is the one that runs, that does the image. Let me see what happens here. So hold on a second. Let me get this set. Sorry. I want to go to the node 5 example and say node bot.js. Let's see if this works. Claims it worked. Let's see what's here. Okay, great. So that did work. So, so I'm gonna so this particular bot, what it's doing, and again, the tutorial is the tutorial. I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought here for a second. I already made tutorials that show how to have the Twitter bot create an image and post that image. So what I'm going to do now is just show how to send the image, how to do that on Amazon. Okay, so I'm going to look through these notes for a second just to see. That's installing Java, doing this, command. Oh, right. Okay. All right, so I'm going to follow these instructions in this video. I probably should practice this, but I'm not going to. And so here we go. So actually what I want to do also is I just need to have this here. I need to have this here. And what I'm going to do is open up processing. Let me just see if I need to update my processing. Oh, I do. Okay. Yes. So by the way, there is 3.0.2, which I'm going to get right now. So I'm using the most recent processing in this particular video. And we'll be getting to the EC2 thing in a second. Hey, I'm gaining audience members. I got to do something more interesting. I did do a little dance earlier. That was kind of pathetic, but so I just want to have the most recent version of processing. I'm going to have the sketch open. Oh, it's in use. Let's close processing. Let's replace it on the desktop. Okay, so here I have the notes. I have Twitter open. I'm also going to need CyberDuck at some point, but I will get to that later. I have this, and we open up processing. Open it, and just getting all the pieces together. Can close this one. Processing is now open. I guess I don't need to show the welcome message every time. And what I want to do is look at this. And okay. Oh, I forgot that it has exit in there. Okay, great. So this is the processing sketch. It creates an image. The bot triggers the processing sketch, draws the image, posts it to Twitter, and that's that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how now to run this locally and then deploy to EC2. Okay, and I'm going to have my notes open over here as well. In case I need to look at that. EC2, it's a little bit big. Okay, and here we go. So I have the processing sketch, the Twitter bot code, and the Twitter bot open. Getting all these notifications, what are they? Oh, people are liking my tweets and saying hi to me. That's nice. Okay, but I just want to be in my egg. I'm an egg. Okay, purple. Yay, more purple. Okay, sorry, I'm like scared of making this particular tutorial, but I'm just gonna do it. All right, here we go. I'm going to hit. Let me just check the chat to make sure there's nobody saying anything. I lost a viewer. Okay, here we go. I have my notes here. There we go. Okay. Hello. In this video, I'm going to look at how you can deploy a Twitter bot written in Node.js to an Amazon EC2 instance. In particular, one of the reasons I want to use an Amazon EC2 instance in this case is because not only is my Twitter bot written in Node.js, but my Twitter bot triggers a processing sketch, which is a Java program, to create an image, and that image is posted to Twitter. So if you want to make a image producing Twitter bot, this is one solution for you. This is not the be-all end-all solution, of course, because there's lots of ways to write Twitter bots and there's lots of ways to make images, but you can see here. So in a moment, I'm going to start going through those steps, but let's just kind of get a lay of the land here for a second. So here you can see this is a particular Twitter bot. It posts an image made from processing. You can see the image here. This is the processing sketch. If I run the processing sketch here, you can see it just draws this particular image. It also saves it to a file and exits because here now is the code. You can see the code in Node is triggering that processing sketch here. And now if I run that code, the image bot is starting. It says it worked. And if I go back to Twitter, we can see here I got another one. Now these two images are different, even though they look remarkably the same, remarkably similar, but they are different, right? Someone doing a quick pixel analysis. They're different. They have to be different. Otherwise, my whole understanding of the way the universe works is faulty. Okay, so now we see this is how you run this stuff locally. This is what I did in all the previous videos in this playlist about Node Twitter bot things. Now we need to look at how do we deploy this stuff to an Amazon EC2 instance? You know, basically, you know, any Linux Linux server, you could follow these same steps, and I'm just going to happen to use Amazon. And I was able to do this with a free account. Now, at some point, you might discover you have to pay, but for the most part, it seems like you can run this using free credits, at least for quite a long time. Okay, so I do happen to have these notes online on a web page, which will be linked to in the description of this video, which presumably you are watching at some other time than the actual moment that I'm speaking right now. But the first thing I'm going to do here is go to this link, Amazon EC2. But actually, I can just type in Amazon EC2, probably into Google. And I'm going to even just go down here and click on the first result. And what I want to do is sign into the console. The console is where I'm going to get to configure my server. So that's the first thing I want to do, sign into the console. And then I have to enter in my password. And I don't want Chrome to save it. Okay, I'm presented with this terrifying page of like 50 zillion things we could do. There's so much here, I have no idea what any of it does. But up here in the top left, EC2, virtual servers in the cloud, floating in the air. Those servers, which are more likely in an underground bunker somewhere, not in a cloud, but this is what I want. I want to run a server somewhere else where I can run this particular bot. So I'm going to click on EC2, and I get an EC2 management console. And oh, good. Oh no, I do. I currently have one running instance, which is, I guess, probably some previous test that I did at another time. But I'm going to just click Launch Instance. And now I'm presented also with a terrifying set of objects, of options. So I'm going to go back to my notes page where I said, this is the one that I happen to use. So there's different versions of Linux operating systems and different kinds of, and the key things that I'm looking for, one is free tier eligible. I'm going to see if I can get this running on the free tier. The other is I need one that can also not just run Node, but run Java. It so happens that this Ubuntu server 14.04, it happens to also be able to run Java. I also want to make sure I pick general purpose, free tier micro, and then set review and launch. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to look for that one, which is this one. I'm going to hit select over here. I don't know if you guys can see this. I should make but Ubuntu Server 14.04. I'm going to hit select. A general purpose, T2 free tier eligible. I'm going to hit review and launch. And now it is launched. Great. Oh no, launch. Now I'm going to hit launch. And okay. So here's the deal. This is the weirdest part of working with Amazon EC2 is how you're going to now authenticate and log into it. And you need to create this secret file that holds the keys to your server. Now, apparently, I've been here before, and I've made a bunch of these because I was showing different examples. So you likely won't have any previous keys you can use. But I'm going to create a new key pair. So I need to give it a name, and I'm going to call it Coding Rainbow, if you can see that. And I'm going to then click Download Key Pair. Oh, yikes. What happened? I'm zooming like I've completely lost my ability to zoom effectively. So I'm going to hit Download Key Pair, and we should see, hopefully, that, you can see here, I'm standing in front of it, but down here under my downloads, in the downloads, there is now this file, codingrainbow.pem. You must have this file. I now need that file always and forever to log into this EC2 instance in a variety of different ways that I'll show you. Okay, so I have that file now, and now I should be able to now finally say launch instances. Now that I have that file, I can say launch instances, and I'm waiting. Your instances are now launching, and now I can go to view instances, and I'm not worrying about that right now. So you can see this is clearly one that I made a while ago when I was doing another tutorial or another test, and you can see this one hasn't actually completely launched yet. So this is the problem of making these videos in real time, where I sometimes I just stand here like completely awkwardly, like dumbfounded. I don't know what to do. It's pending. Let's go to the next steps, and when we come back, hopefully it'll be working. So, okay, so I followed these steps. I did this part. Now, okay. So what I need to do now is use that key, that file, to be able to log into that instance. So the way that the first thing I need to do is actually change the file's permissions. So files on computers have permissions. Some files are like locked and you can't edit them. Some files are applications that can be executable. This particular key file needs, CH stands for like change, modify, actually, what does it stand for? Somebody tell me, somebody write, I'll do an annotation here. But I need to run this command to change its file permissions. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I need to do is I need to go to where that file is. So actually, I'm just going to put that file on the desktop. You can come up with a better place to put it. And I'm going to go to the desktop, and I can see there is that file. And I guess I'm zoomed in or something. So now what I want to do is, type in this particular command, chmod 400, and then that file name, which was coding rainbow.pem. So that's the first thing I've done. I've now changed the file permissions to 400 for that particular file. And then now I can do something called SSH. SSH, secure shell. So basically what I want to do is, in the same way that I'm here in terminal on my computer and I can look at the files by saying ls, I can run the files by saying like node. What I want to do is be able to remote into that Amazon EC2 instance so that the terminal I'm looking at, the commands I'm typing, are actually not running on my laptop, which is here. It was dangerous to pick it up. Not running on this laptop, but actually the commands are executing on the server floating in the cloud that's buried in the underground bunker. Okay, so let's see here if, me rambling for a long period of time, we're at 9 minutes here, has actually caused this instance to be running. I don't know why it doesn't have a name here. Let me give it a name. So, and one thing I can do here, if I zoom in and right click, see this connect option? This is going to be really useful to me because actually it gives me all of, right? This is the command. I've got the command right here. This is like the public, this is like the address essentially of that instance. And then here it's actually giving me the exact command to log into it. So I don't even need to figure out what it is. I can just copy this and go back to terminal and paste that in here, hit enter, and okay, this is the first time that I'm connecting, so my computer is saying, I don't know about this, I haven't connected this place before, is there anything that I should be afraid of here? It's nothing, so I should type yes, and now it's added, and then I just sit here and I wait, and I hope that the internet will oblige me and connect. There we go. So look at that. You can now see here that I am connected. I have logged in under my new name, Ubuntu, to my new address, IP 172.31.34.179. So now I can do things like say pwd, with print working directory. Here I am in home/Ubuntu. I can type ls, and I can see there's nothing there. So now this is great, right? This bot, which I have here locally on my computer, I want to be able to get it over here on my Amazon EC2 instance. So how do I upload files there? So one way to upload files to your Amazon EC2 instance is with FTP, or File Transfer Protocol, secure FTP. So the way that I could do that is you could use any FTP software and all sorts of, there's probably a way to do it through the web, through a browser, but I'm going to use something called CyberDuck, which you can Google and download. I already have it installed here. And so I'm going to run CyberDuck. And what I'm going to do here, I have a CyberDuck open. What I want to hit is this open connection. So I click open connection, and now I have this window where what I need to do is put in all the information for that Amazon EC2 instance. So first thing I want to do is make sure I do SFTP. It's got to be Secure Shell File Transfer Protocol. And then the server address, if I go back to here, should be this. right? This is connect to your instance using the public DNS. It's this. So I'm going to copy this and go back to CyberDuck. Paste that in here. Now, there's this interesting question here, which is, what's my username and password? Well, I don't have a username and password. I have this weird codingrainbow.pem private key file. It turns out in CyberDuck, under here, under more options, I can click that, and I can say use public key authentication. So I click that, and now I go to the desktop, and I select this file, and now I now have this file selected as my way of authenticating, and I should be able to just say connect. Oh, maybe I need to write Ubuntu here, just in the username. And it works. Okay, phew. So that was one little step that I had personally forgotten that I need to put in the username. I need to say Ubuntu. But now I just have this window here, right? This is now a view into home/Ubuntu. So what do I want to do? I want to go, and I want to just go here. This folder here, Node 5, is where I have all of my stuff. And I'm just going to take bot, config, and package.json. I'm just going to upload those files right now. So I can drag them in here, drag those files into here, and they're now uploading. A little window is telling me progress. They're transferring. I can see that those files are listed here right now. And now I can go back here, and I can say ls, and you can see those files are there. Yay! These things are working. So now, running out of breath here, now I can type in node. And you know, this is going to not work because I've missed a set of steps here, but node bot.js. And so what's happening here? The program node can be found in the following packages: node, node.js legacy. So, and then it's saying sudo apt-get install selected package. So one thing we first have to do is at least configure node to work the way that we want it to work. And I believe that I have mentioned that here. And these are some steps that you can do. So let's actually just run through these steps. The first thing I want to do is do sudo apt-get update. So what that does is just says this apt-get thing, which is a tool to like get things like Node and other software. I want to make sure it's updated and has all of the most recent stuff. So that's done. Then the next thing I want to do is install Node.js, which say sudo apt-get install Node.js. So I'm going to run that. My audio is still working. This is asking me if I want to use the disk space, which of course I do. So I'm going to run and install Node.js, which is great. Then I also want to make sure I have npm installed, which is Node Package Manager, which you might remember from the previous Node tutorials. And this needs 130 megabytes of disk space, so hopefully this doesn't take too long. This is installing. Now, the next step, while this is installing, let's talk about the next step for a second. This is now a command to make sure that the particular version of Node that I installed is now the actual version of Node that will run when I type in the Node command. So I am going to grab this command here and hope that this is done. It's done. And I'm going to, because watch what happens if I just type Node right now. It doesn't actually know what node. It can be found in the, it's like, well, which one should I run? Node.js Legacy or this one, Node? So I want to make sure that I run this particular one with that command. And now when I type Node, you'll see I'm in Node. So now I have Node running on my Amazon EC2 instance, and I can, oh wait, if I say clear here, oh, it does still work. I can say node bot.js. Now, first error I get is it cannot find module twit. This is going to be, notice when I uploaded my files, remember how I said I uploaded the files? I didn't upload the directory that said node modules. I could have uploaded that directory, but it makes more sense for me to just let those modules get installed by Amazon itself. So I can just type in npm install, and it's now going to install all the modules that are needed for this particular bot. We went through this locally. Now I'm doing this on the server. So if we looked here and I refreshed, you can see that now there is a directory called node modules, which has, for example, that twit module in it. So now I should be able to say node bot.js, and it will run. Now, here's the thing. It runs. So these are all the steps you need if you just have a plain old bot that only runs in Node. But the reason why I got an error now is it can't find that image file, output.png. The reason why it can't find that image file, output.png, is because that's the image file that's created by the processing sketch. So while this part of the video I've now concluded, like you could, if you just have a node.js bot, you're kind of done, although there's another step of getting it to run after you log out, which I will get to. But let's get the image itself to, let's get the image making processing sketch to run as well. So let's look at how we do that. And there's a lot of like sort of awfully scary looking weird commands to do that. Okay. Actually, so yeah, I'll come back to the forever thing. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make sure Java is on our server. So first thing I want to do is install Java, which I want to say apt-get install default JRE. So I'm going to put that in and run that. And it's going to take 209 megabytes of disk space. I'm going to say yes. So now I'm installing Java. And I'm going to wait for that to install. And let's go back while we're doing that to the next step. The next step, okay, so look at all these like terrifyingly weird looking commands. So what's the weird thing that has to happen? When you work with processing on a computer, your computer is typically connected to a monitor, a screen, and you're seeing the output of processing on that screen. Your Amazon EC2 instance has no screen. It has no GUI interface. It's just a server that you can SSH into or FTP files to, but it's known as headless. Meaning processing actually, when it runs, it breaks because it's like, I don't know what graphics thing to draw anything to. There is no graphics thing. So these next steps are steps that create a fake display. Essentially, the EC2 instance has this display. You're tricking it into thinking that it is connected to a display because we don't need to see it. We just want the graphics to be rendered to a file. So the first thing I'm going to do is install something called XVFB, which you could Google to find out what it is. I'm going to run this particular command, which will install this tool for a fake display. The other thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to give it an actual screen, which has a resolution of 1024 by 768. Why not? So I will do that. And it gives some weird little errors, but you know, big deal. So this seems to be running a process that I need to like now quit out of. So I'm going to hit Control C to do that. And then okay. So this was the command that creates that screen, and that screen was there only while it's running. But I also now need to export it and assign it to be display 1. So actually, these commands are no good. So this is the command. Let me explain that again. So I'm going to run this command, right? And that screen now exists for processing to draw into. But I can't type in any other commands here because it's like running. So what I needed to do is I needed to run in the background. And a command for having things run in the background is no hup. So I'm actually going to say this now. And now you can see I'm back to my terminal, but that screen is now created. And I also just want to assign it display number 1. That's what processing will draw to, display number 1. So that's done. So now we're in good shape. Now, here's the thing. If we go back to the code, you'll notice here, this is the code that I ran locally on my laptop for triggering processing to run, processing-java. But actually, now that I'm on a Amazon server, boy, I'm 20 minutes in. Is anybody still watching this 20 minutes into a tutorial about uploading stuff to Amazon EC2? But I'm now on an Amazon EC2 instance, which is a Linux machine. So there's actually a different way that I can do this. I can go to my processing sketch, and I can go under File, Export Application. So Export Application is something you can always do. and it opens up a little window. And what I want to actually do is check Linux. Okay, I want to export it as a Linux application. Now, there is this embed Java option, which I'm kind of confused whether I want to select. Did I don't recall whether I need to select that or not. Let's try unselecting it. I probably should keep it selected, but let's try unselecting it, and I'm going to hit export. So you can see here, now I have the Linux application. Incidentally, here's a version that you could run on a Raspberry Pi, which we'll get to later. So now I should be able to go back and upload this to, okay, so I'm going to have this application which I want to include. So, oh, now, boy, this tutorial is not going very well. That light went off, camera went off. I don't know why this light keeps going off. So I'm going to now what I need to do is I need to take this folder and I'm going to upload that folder to my server. So I'm going to upload that here. So I'm uploading that Linux application. Dun, dun, dun. It's there. Now I'm also going to rename this file, this folder, and call it Rainbow. And I do want to do that. So you can see here, the application is now here in this particular folder. So the first thing we need to do is figure out, does this even work? So remember here, I'm now logged in to the server, and you can see there is a directory called Rainbow. So I can go into that directory, we can see what's there. This is actually the application. And the way in Linux, the way that you execute something is with /rainbow. And it's going to say permission denied. So there's a few things that I need to do here. I need to get this to run somehow. So let's go back to the steps. So it looks like all I need to do is say sudo, right? So sudo is a way of saying, like, I am in charge here. I am the super user here. So let's try running the application now. What did I do wrong? Command not found. Sudo. Oh, you know what? Weirdly, interestingly enough, it needs to be in quotes. Is that really true? That doesn't make any sense. No. Why did I put the quotes there? OK, I have to pause this video while I figure this out. I don't know if anyone is still watching this in the chat. This has turned into such a ginormous topic. I knew why I didn't want to make this video. I'm looking in the chat. OK, does anybody know what I'm missing here? Well, one thing is maybe I just need to change the permissions. Oh, that's all I needed to do. And now you see the image file is there. Crap. OK, so let me remove that file. Okay, it's not there anymore. Let me oh, it's working. I don't know. What's something to make it not work? No, it's still working. Whatever. Shoot. Yes, thank you. Oh, +X. I like that better. OK. Thank you, SacFab, for correcting me. All right. I'm just going to have to frustratingly splice this video back together. OK. And I'm going to hit record. OK, I did forget a crucial step, which is that I have to fix the permissions on that file to make it executable. And a way I can do that is by chmod +X. The file's name is Rainbow. I don't know why I said +X. what did I do wrong there, Sack? But I'll just go back to 777, which makes it executable. So let me try this again. Okay. So I did miss a step there, which is that the permissions of the file, I have to set the permissions to be executable, which I can do by saying chmod 777 rainbow. And now I should be able to say /rainbow and run it. And it did something. It finished. And now let's type ls. And we can see, look at that. There is a file in there now called output.png. So if I go in here and hit refresh, and we go grab this file, and I download it to my desktop, and I take a look at it, you can see this is the image that was now generated on the server. So now we have the processing sketch as an exported Linux application running on the Amazon EC2 instance. Boy, I know this is like 20-some minutes into this long tutorial, but we're so close now to actually making the thing run. It's very exciting. OK, so now, if I go back to here, one thing you'll notice, I'm going to go back to the code, is remember this? This was the command that I had for running on my Mac to execute a processing sketch using processing command line, processing-java. But now that it's a Linux application, the only thing I need to do is actually just change that command to this. /rainbow. Only that's not exactly right because it's in a different directory. And so I'm going to go here, and I just need to make sure I have the folder. So I think actually I can just do this, rainbow/rainbow. And now I've changed the code. And since I changed the code, I also need to re-upload the code to the server. So I'm overwriting it, continue. So now that new code is running on the server. And I should be able to go back a directory. So now what's here? We have bot.js, which triggers the processing application, which is in Rainbow, and communicates with the Twitter API and posts a tweet. So let's see if this works. ImageBot is starting. It worked. And now if I go here and look at the bot, we should see 7 seconds ago this particular image. Now, I want to make sure it's really overwriting and making a new image. So the only way I can think to really do that is to go into the processing sketch for a second and change this to like a green value. So let's make, whoops. You can see now the color should be green. And I'm going to export this, export application as a Linux application, go into here, take this, and I probably shouldn't be doing this right now. I'm going to upload it. So I'm replacing it. Here we go. So now I uploaded the new application. And I'm going to go into that directory. I'm going to, whoops, change the permissions again. You don't ever need to do this. I just want to really make sure it's working, which is risky because it might not be. I'm going to go back up a directory, and I'm going to say node bot.js. ImageBot is starting. It says it worked, but I'm not entirely sure it overwrote that file. I have a bad feeling it didn't. Ah, it did! OK, that's magical. So it does work. So, and I can run it again. Now, this particular bot, by the way, you noticed it just quits. It only does it once. And you can see we got another one. These are two, even though it's the same color scheme, they're different. I should just make a processing sketch that makes a much more recognizable image. But here's the thing. What you want probably is your bot to be running continuously. So the one thing is just to add set interval to the code. But the other thing that you need is to use a tool known as forever. So this is the last piece that's on that's on this particular walkthrough. So in other words, what you want is for the Node app to run forever in the background, even when you log out of Amazon, your instance. And forever, we saw that this no-hup thing is a way of doing it, which is also a way, but Node has its own way of doing that, which is something called forever. So I can say sudo npm install forever-g. So this is a Node module that's not associated with a particular Node application, but a sort of global thing that you would run across a lot of applications. So if I copy that here, that's going to install this tool called forever. And then it's going to do my forever install dance. And then I can now start and stop things. I can say forever start bot.js, which is running it. And you can set all sorts of parameters like how long should it be up for, how long should it sleep, and all that thing. But I'm just letting it use the defaults. And another thing I can type now is forever.list, I think. And you can see. Let's hold on. Let's make this a little bit more easy for you to see. Forever.list. And you can see that this is the particular process that's running, Node.js, bot.js. So if I wanted, that one's just running now forever. It's not tweeting forever because the process is not set to do that. But I can do things like, say, forever stop all, I believe, which just stopped everything. So now if I say forever list again, there's no forever processes running. And I can say forever start again. So there's lots of different ways. So this is what you want to do. So if I set that running and I log out, my bot is now going to be running forever on that Amazon EC2 instance. Woof. This is like probably one of the longest tutorial videos I've ever made. It was completely sort of like frantic and a little haphazard. And this is probably hard to follow. Probably, to be honest with you, this page of instructions might actually make it easier. But let me just review to recap what I covered in this particular very long tutorial, which is that first thing you want to do is create that server instance. You need to get a key pair, a file, so that you can log into it. Once you've logged into it, you want to SSH into it, meaning connect to it from terminal. Then you want to do things like install node. Then you want to connect to it with FTP, SFTP, CyberDuck being a tool for doing that. That allows you to upload your files there. Once you've uploaded your files there, you can run your bot. But if your bot also runs a processing sketch, you want to also install Java, run these commands to create the fake display in the background, then export your processing sketch as a Linux application and upload that. Once you have all of that there, then you can use forever to run your Node bot that triggers the processing sketch. This is like the kick the cat that my father bought for 2 zuzim, but anyway, it's that runs the node, that runs the processing sketch, that creates the fake display, that runs with forever, my father bought for, anyway, whatever. So all those steps and you've got your thing running. So if anybody actually watched this entire video and actually has a Node bot running on an Amazon EC2 instance successfully, I don't know, please send me a tweet or something or to let me know because that would make me happy to hear that. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording now. I will, in the description for this video, link to the written instructions, link to all the references you need, and hopefully this will be something that's useful to somebody someday, somewhere in the universe. And record. Okay. I've lost 50% of the viewers, which is no surprise. This is kind of one of my not so interesting. Oh, I missed the space for the +X. Thank you. This is one of my the tutorials that I just sort of said I would do and been meaning to get to, but to be honest, it is not. I mean, it's just like not one of the more interesting ones, but it is what it is. Okay, what time is it? It is 12:50. I think so. I said I was going to. Does anybody have any questions about the Raspberry Pi? I think I'm going to come back to the Raspberry Pi this afternoon. I'm going to take a break for lunch. I'm just doing this all day, by the way, if you were wondering. And I'm going to come back. I know some of you might be late at night wherever you are in the world, or maybe now you're just waking up. But I'll stick around for another minute or two, 5 or 10 minutes even, if people have a few questions they want to ask about any of that. Was there stuff? I also just, I'm happy to just hear any feedback now. Is this is not the kind of tutorial I usually do, because it involved so many moving parts and all these weird commands, and I'm copying and pasting, and I don't understand half of what any of it means. I see there are some things in the chat from before, but if the people are just making comments. But if anybody has any questions they want to ask, let me know. I'm planning to come back this afternoon. I'm going to see if the whiteboard arrived so I can install it. Because then maybe I could do some tutorials with the whiteboard, which would be exciting. How is the white balance looking? Do I look like a human being, or do I have a weird orange color? Okay, I think an hour and a half. I feel pleased that I was able to get these two things off my list. I'm just going to go look at the list, by the way, while I'm here and waiting to see if anybody has any questions. So here, deploying to EC2. This is basically what I did. I did Heroku and EC2. I wanted to do run it on a Raspberry Pi tutorial, which I might try to do this afternoon. And then there were some other aspects to the TwitterBot stuff that I think would be good to include as well, which I will get to. Great. Thank you, Dale. Nice to hear that feedback. OK. White balance. It looks OK? Thanks, Sam. OK. So can you tell how to host a website locally in a network? OK. That's a good question, actually. So I could do that right here, right now, which is that OK, so let me go back. So if I had a Node program that was a web server, I could just run that Node program right here. And then this laptop, this thing that I'm using right here, you can see there's a laptop here, SFPC, that's where I am. This laptop would become a web server. And I actually have another laptop over here that I could then connect to and see the web server. And I'll show you kind of a little version of that real quick. So I'm not going to write a Node server. I don't have that at the ready. But actually, Macs come with Python pre-installed, and Python allows you to run a web server. So if I were to just go here, I'm going to go to any one of these folders. I'm going to just go into this folder here. I'm going to cd into this directory. So let's say in this directory, these are all my files for my website. They're HTML files, CSS files, all that stuff. And now I want to run whatever my thing is that's a web server. So whoops, OK, I need to let you guys be able to see this. So I want to run, so here is one way of running a web server on a Mac. But Node programmable can run a web server. You could program your own web server in any number of languages. You can download things that run web servers. But I'm running a web server. So you can see the web server is running on 0.0.0, meaning this computer localhost on port 8000. So if I go to my browser and I type in localhost port 8000, that's the URL for this particular web server. I can see it here, and I can go into here, and I can click here, and I can see this is a page that's running one of my P5.js examples. So now the question becomes, that's running on this particular laptop. What if I want this laptop to access this? Both of these laptops are on the same local network. So first thing I need to know is, not about this Mac. If I go to System Preferences, under Network, and under Advanced here, actually, you know what? It's right here. Wi-Fi is connected and has this particular IP address. This is actually going to become quite important when I look at some Raspberry Pi tutorials, because I'm going to connect to the Raspberry Pi in a similar way. So what I need to do now is on this laptop, I need to type in that IP address into the browser. So I'm going to do that. 192.168. 1.1.191, but that's not enough because I'm running the server on port 8000. So colon 8000. And you can see here, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see this, but if I go under forces, under one of these examples, I don't know if you can see this, but this is that web page running. I've messed with the key by like shining light at the camera. But so now I have this laptop connecting it. So there's a web server here, and the other computers are connecting to it like it's a web server. Hopefully that answered that question. That's kind of its own little tutorial itself. I should hit record. OK, I am now going to pause for a second and look at some things on my computer while I wait to see if there's any other questions. I made 16. Oh, boy. I think that Twitter bot might still be running on Amazon EC2. Or did I just do it so many times 9 minutes ago? That's weird. I wonder what that Twitter bot is doing. I should make sure it's stopped. Oh, OK, it is stopped. Maybe it did have. Oh, yeah, I just didn't have the set interval. I have it commented out. That was silly of me. I should have put that back in. It's in the code there. I didn't notice that. OK. All right, so I'm going to take a lunch break. Tuesdays and Fridays are currently my days. Friday, I have actually some other stuff planned this week, so I'm going to see if I can do some more recording on Thursday, maybe this week if I have time. But for those of you who might not be aware, I'm kind of trying to spend more time this semester while I have a break from teaching my usual load of classes to make many video tutorials. And I have a list of things I'm kind of tracking here. Chrome extension tutorials, Git tutorials, more other things. So send me feedback. Twitter @Schiffman is the best way to reach me. I'm not really, and also if programming questions, it's great if you use forum.processing.org for processing in P5.js questions. And I'm going to try, it's 1 o'clock, I'm going to try in about an hour or an hour and a half to do some more recording for later this afternoon around 2:30. So somewhere around 2 or 3 Eastern Standard Time. So send me feedback. Send me your weird GIFs that you make of these videos if anybody wants to do that. That's it for right now. I will be back this afternoon. OK? See you all. I'm going to click a button over here, and then I go away, I think.